Mention that.
I just watched Halloween Havoc of '92, which was the first ever spin the wheel make the deal was Sting versus Jake the Snake Roberts coal miner gloves match.
So that's where they got the raw roulette from.
Yeah, yeah. Not to really think about it that way, but yeah, you can pretty much say that.
And for me, you see, we, being from England, the only thing we had in England at the time was just Vince McMahon and his wrestling. We didn't get a lot of the other things until, further into the 90s. So for me, watching it, it was like my first time at watching it. So it was kind of funny when you're seeing wrestlers who I'm used to now or a few years afterwards with no hair and everything, and it's like, well, dang, that's such a such. You got like food in your hair. It's like really bugging me.
I don't know how that damn
So yeah, so for me it was really interesting, like watching it because it was like the first time of seeing it. So I was like watching these pay-per-views, and it was kind of funny for me. That is, I don't know about anybody else, but.
Well, for me, it's back as heck. I'm used to watching stuff from that far back. That's
Right,
what I grew up watching.
Right, and I know AJ grew up watching that stuff as well.
Yeah.
So what do you think is, obviously we were saying about how they would never get away with some of that stuff on TV now with the blood and everything. And there was a lot of it we were saying, and I was telling Mike, and I've told him a couple of times, if you remember when we were watching, I can't remember if it was a pay-per-view or if it was Monday Night Raw, where Batista got cut right by the ear. And if you remember, it was bleeding really badly, and they stopped the match to clean it
I
up.
think it was a pay-per-view.
I could hear him saying, leave me the fuck alone, leave me the fuck alone, let me just wrestle, let me just wrestle. And they stopped the entire match to clean him up. And I remember us saying then when it started back up again, it was like, the flow had gone.
Yeah, pretty much.
The flow had just completely gone. It was like watching the match from the beginning all over again. And I think that's why I think a lot of people fell out of love, so to speak, with wrestling.
That's the bad part about the PG era. John Cena messed it up for all of us.
No, don't blame it on him.
Oh, you opening the can of worms. I'm just going to like...
It's all
I'm
Vince
gonna
McMahon.
blame it on him because that PG era did not kick up until John Cena became until John Cena, before John Cena became the face of WWE, it was the Attitude Era. As soon as John Cena came in and he hopped on the bandwagon and all the kids started jumping on the "you can't see me" bandwagon, then they had to tone it down because once again kids became the main focus of John Cena's sell point. So they had to tone it down so it become kid friendly.
No, that's not true. It's all Vince McMahon. That's what he wanted, and he wanted to make more money, and that's what he went with.
Like The Rock said when he came back, we were powerful Austin 316 to the electrifying. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking to? You can't see me.
Well, I would have to say I'm kind of in between both of you on this. Because, you know what, I could throw this though. I'm kind of in between all of this in the sense that I think that... I just dropped my ducky over.
You can't see him.
No, I can't see him. You're right. Where was I going? Oh yeah, I think the John Cena helped make it a PG movement. I don't think he was completely behind it, but he helped make it a PG movement.
That can't see me.
No, the duck can't see you. But hush a minute. But I think there was other issues as well. If you think about it, at the time when it started to really change, the whole TV system in itself went very politically correct, and we don't do this, we don't do that, we don't say this, we don't say that, and
yet they did get away with a lot more on television than what they used to.
Right, but it's slowly changing now because you don't watch Monday Night Raw and SmackDown and everything, so but we have seen. Well, we've seen it slow. It's not back to, obviously, with blood pouring down everyone's face and all this lot. But we have now seen when people do get blooded, they don't stop the matches.
Yeah, but it hardly ever happens now, so it's like.
It's
Some people believe.
yeah. There's been a few recently.
I think it was like, I think it was last week or this week that Roman Reigns was bleeding from the mouth.
This week. Yep. But why do you think the WCW was so popular, shall we say?
Well, back then, I'm just speaking for me. I'm not speaking for everybody else because I didn't see WCW until '96.
Boy, you did miss out.
Well, apparently, from what I was hearing today, I did.
hmm
Like I said, didn't have cable until around '95, '96. Then
Boy, yeah, you
I was
missed
watching
out.
Raw. Then it was on the break. Then I just like, let me just flick. Then suddenly
Nitro.
you saw Scott Hall in there when that invasion began. And he was talking, I'm like, what is
NWO
this?
invasion.
Yeah, I'm looking like, what is this? What? This is new. And that's how I found out what WCW existed.
That's WCW Nitro. Back in the early 90s, actually before WCW even became WCW, it was actually, if you want to, it depends on how far back you want to go. It pretty much started in the South. It was known as Mid-South Championship Wrestling, and then it became, no, Mid-Atlantic, then Mid-South. No, it was three different territories, actually. It was Mid-South, Mid-Atlantic, and Georgia Championship Wrestling. Um, Vince McMahon actually, strange but true fact, Vince McMahon actually owned WCW before he bought it because it was supposed to be him and another guy, and the other guy dropped out. Of course, Vince McMahon already had WWE by this point because he got it from his dad. Once the one guy fell out, Vince McMahon sold his share to Ted Turner, and Ted Turner bought NWA, which later became WCW. Which is why, if you watch a lot of the classic WCW programming, they still have some of the NWA titles. And then somewhere around about 91, no, around about 93 or so is when it became just primarily WCW. So, yeah, and that's a little brief history of the origin of WCW.
So why do you think a bunch of former WWE wrestlers went over there? Was it a Vince? Because I don't know. I'm asking.
I can tell you number one reason why.
Money.
That's one of them. The other reason is because I'm guessing Vince felt that it was like they were, well, some of the Scott Hall especially, he felt like as Razor Ramon he had got to like Intercontinental title spot, and that's where he was gonna stay. Like Vince wasn't gonna use him to get any higher than that.
Gotcha.
So then he decided, okay, since I'm not gonna get any higher here, and the opposition is offering me more money, maybe I could go over there and make something more of just being like that mid-card guy, which for him it actually worked because he went over to WCW and became one of the biggest factions of all time, the NWO, and that was way past Razor Ramon status. Kevin Nash was the same way. But then also, like I said, some of the guys.
Yeah, Kevin Nash gave this is from what he was saying from his mouth, because I was at this was like a long time ago. He was doing a Q&A that he said that WCW came to him, gave him an offer, and he went to Vince and said, "This is what they gave me. Can you match it or hire it?" Vince said no.
So he went.
Because he was still mid-card. He had, of course, Kevin Nash had became champion at one point, but once he lost the title, he went back to being a mid-card guy.
Yeah, so from what I heard from that is like him as champion didn't do so well.
That's why he wasn't champion for very long.
So do you think that's also, if you fast forward then to like, I won't say today because TNA is like slowly but surely bombing itself.
Well, there's slowly climbing in the way.
But if you remember when TNA was at its prime and it was running pretty much against WWE, I know they weren't in the same time slot, but you know what I mean.
At one time they were, but that didn't work out.
Do you think that that's why a lot of like mid-card wrestlers left WWE and went to TNA? Was because for the same reason, Vince wasn't giving them
It
the
wasn't
pushes.
that, it just, well, yeah, I was about to say
Yeah,
that.
that's
Like,
partly true.
it's like because some of the like they weren't getting their fair shots, so they decided to leave to see if they can go to another organization and become big time.
And the thing is, we see that a lot. I mean, we've spoken about it when we see certain wrestling shows and like pay-per-views and everything, and we've sat there and gone, for God's sake, give so-and-so a push.
Right.
Give this person a push, you know. And you know damn well when we've seen, like, I'm trying to think. I know there was a local show we went to, and he was wrestling for TNA at the time, and you saw him in the ring, and he was, like, amazing. And then we were talking about when he was with the WWE, and we're like, why didn't we see this? Why didn't we see these skills of his in WWE? And then when we thought about it, it's like, well, we didn't, because Vince McMahon wanted him doing, you know, a certain thing and his character to be portrayed a certain way, so he wasn't really able to let loose, so to speak.
I'm trying to think who that
And
was.
it was a couple of years ago, and I can't remember what it was.
It wasn't Cody, because I know he
No.
left for that reason.
And then you hear about like the wrestlers who go to Japan and everything for the same, because
Most of them actually start off with Japan before they even
Yeah.
come to the States.
Yeah, some of them start from WWE, then, like you said,
they fly away.
yeah, because they think they wasn't going to mount to none because, you know, Vince McMahon likes his beefy guys.
Well, and we've said this before, and as I have got like two black men, well, one black man, I don't want you are.
Caramel.
If I throw some salt on him, we got salted caramel here and dark chocolate. I'm vanilla wafer, by the way. You both can attest to this. Vince McMahon seems to also have a real major issue with black wrestlers' titles.
I don't know about that.
Well, it's
Championship titles, shall we
I
say,
can't
like
say
the
that.
heavyweight.
I can't really vouch to that because look how long The Rock was like the mainstay of the championship division, and he's not just Samoan. He's black himself, and he's had the title for a long time,
but she trying to
and
say
more than once.
I'm trying to say like the Mark Henrys.
like full African
Like
American.
full African
not mixed.
American.
Henry had the world title for a while. The
Not long.
Usos, they were running with the tag team titles for a while.
Right, but I'm on about like
The main title.
the main title, like the
the
heavyweight.
WWE Championship.
Yeah. He doesn't like people, that's what it appears anyway. And who was it who said that as well? It was actually somebody who left WWE who came out and said that. I'm like stuck in a corner over here and I ain't
It
gonna
was a
name
black
one.
person. I can't remember
Yeah.
who it was.
But oh, Kyle. But
Hey, Kyle.
the other thing, you know, as well is that in my mind, I know I'm going based on what I saw during the 90s, and as I say, in England it was very limited. Because you actually had English wrestling, which I miss so badly. Oh my god.
Well, whenever they air NXT
Look.
UK,
We have 3 falls in a match in England, okay?
Why?
Why not?
Why do you need 3 falls to determine who should be the winner?
Because it's best to have 3.
2 out of 3 falls.
Why do you need that in every match? Like,
Because it makes the matches really good.
no, just makes them longer for no reason.
It does. No, it doesn't.
I guess if it has a story, it would make
Right.
sense, but
And that's the other thing. Let's go back to stories. When we spoke about this,
Going in bank.
okay, when we spoke about this before, about pay-per-views, before they were like every month.
oh, you know you can turn on that TV in there.
No, I did not.
It has cable hooked up to it also.
The cable remotes should be by the TV. But anywho, when we were saying, me and Mike mentioned this actually when we did the radio show, that what are you doing?
No.
strange fan.
It's just a camera, so it's kind of cool.
So we were saying that when we did like the radio show that you don't get those big build up for the pay-per-views like you used to with the storylines
Oh,
because there was
great.
so many pay-per-views. Like now the storyline runs 3 weeks and then pay-per-view, then coming down from the pay-per-view, then you got 3 weeks. Whereas before, like leading up to WrestleMania, you had these storylines that were just like brutal. Leading up to them, it wasn't, you didn't have like 2 more pay-per-views say before that, and then boom, you
Well,
had
it was like
this
4 or 5 main pay-per-views. That
Yeah.
was it. For those of you that grew up in the 90s for WWE, it was pay-per-views a year. That was it.
So I mean,
If they introduced In Your House, yeah, it was like,
Like King of the Ring, right?
no, this is before King of the Ring even came around. King of the Ring came out in 93. Before that, it was, if you want to start from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, it was pretty much Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, back to Royal Rumble. That was it. There was no other pay-per-views.
see, those were-
WCW was the same way. They had, let's see, I don't know them exactly in order except for Great American Bash because that was around about the time where SummerSlam came around at the same time. But WCW had Starrcade, Super Brawl, Great American Bash, Halloween Havoc, and I think that's about it. Those 4 main pay-per-views. That was it. They didn't have everything that they have now. Like every 2 weeks there's a pay-per-view. No, it didn't run that way.
I will say this: WWE did get a bit ridiculous when they was doing a SmackDown pay-per-view and a Raw pay-per-view.
I thought that was good for like expose more of the talent.
I didn't because I think because I
I
get bored
exposed
with
more
it.
of the talent when they were just pushing the same people.
Well, I'll say this: I can see where he's coming from because when it was like a SmackDown pay-per-view, it was just SmackDown wrestlers.
Pushing
Raw-
the same guy
But
that they
no,
were
they
pushing on
Not
did.
like just
TV.
pushing the same guy, but using some of the guys that they don't use
Right.
on the pay-per-view.
But I mean,
I mean, on the TV.
I don't know. As I say, I didn't see a lot of wrestling in the 90s because all we had was WWE. We didn't have any of the other things that were going on.
But they only had 2 back in the day, really, and that was WCW and WWE.
Yeah, but we
The
never
other
used to
ones
get
weren't around.
WCW. The only time we got, I remember WCW coming to London when I was like 17 or 18. And my brother went to it, and I'm like, "Where are you going? What's that about?" Because those are people probably don't know, but my brother wrestled for a while,
World Championship
And-
Wrestling.
and he would go and everything, and I didn't know what it was. I'm thinking like, yeah, you out your damn mind going to
World
these
Championship
stupid little
Wrestling.
wrestling
That's what it
shows and
It
everything.
was World Championship Wrestling. That's exactly what it was.
But hold on a second though. When did WCW and WWE combine?
2001.
Yeah, I was about to say around about that 2000.
Why did they combine?
Because Vince
Vince bought it.
Oh,
The
okay.
company was going into shitter anyway, and they couldn't pull out of it, so because they were letting the wrong people run the damn company.
It's
just bought it.
like they letting the inmates run the asylum.
Oh.
Pretty much that's exactly what the hell they were doing. They were letting people that didn't know how to run a company, and they drove it into the ground.
Okay, tell me how, and this I don't know either, so, because then, like, obviously I was here in 2001, but I was with
Yeah.
Satan's armpit. So, the only TV we watched was,
NASCAR.
news,
Oh.
football, basketball, baseball, and educational TV shows.
Surprised Satan watched basketball.
Who watched basketball?
Oh.
But when he wasn't around, then I would put on SmackDown for Robert. That was
World
when
Championship
Robert
Wrestling.
first saw it. But what I want to know is, where did TNA come from?
It came from his own, like in 2002. Kind of same thing with Ring of Honor. They started in 2002
Yeah,
as
Jerry
well.
pretty much took his money that he got in WCW and WWE and made a company all his own.
Well, he did have some like sponsor help.
And
Like,
actually,
TNA
technically,
helped
it
him.
didn't even start off as TNA. It actually started off as like an incarnation of NWA.
Was it like NWA TNA or something like
Yeah,
that?
something like that. Because the world title for TNA originally was the NWA world
Right.
title.
Yeah, it was, but I think they was on. I forgot what channels they was on before that, but I know they was on. I think it was not Fox Sports Wisconsin, but like some like
I don't
Fox
remember.
channel.
Like
Like-
how ECW just came out of nowhere with when Paul Lee bought up hit made his own wrestling thing.
Oh yeah,
So where do you think TNA went wrong?
they went wrong in 2010 when they let Hogan be in charge.
Oh, that was bad. Yeah, because then Brooke was involved in it and everything as
And
well.
it was wondering like, why?
Nobody knows
Okay, so what made the 90s special?
everything. The Attitude Era was the shit. Sorry, the Attitude Era was great.
It was great, but it was like costing them a lot of money.
But that's the vibe. The Austin McMahon feud. That's all you got to think. That's all you got to mention. That's what made. That's what kept WWE going. What kept WCW going was the NWO, and it was only cool because everybody wanted to be a part of it. But once they put everybody that had no reason to be in the NWO
Right.
in the NWO, then this went south.
Okay. Excuse my ignorance, and I can hear wrestling fans all across the world just taking a collective sigh of what the hell. Please explain NWO.
New World Order. It was pretty much a gimmick when Scott Hall and Kevin Nash left and went over to WCW. Everybody thought, because they came in, everybody thought they were going to invade, because nobody knew nobody knew that their contracts were up. So everybody thought that they were still with WWE.
Okay.
And they just came on, it was an episode of Monday Night Nitro. Scott Hall just walked out, just came out of the crowd. Everybody was thinking, oh, WWE about to take over WCW are bringing their guys in. That wasn't the case. Then a couple of weeks later, Kevin Nash showed up. And then the third member, and then like a couple of months went past, and they kept showing like NWO vignettes and all that. They were known as the New World Order. But then they kept saying for like 2 months that a third member was coming. And nobody knew who this third member was. The shot heard round the world was when Hogan turned heel and became the third member of the NWO.
Yeah, and that was at the Great American Bash pay-per-view.
Now that wasn't Great American Bash, that was on Bash at the Beach.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Bash at the
okay,
Beach.
so you said there was people who had no business being in it,
You ain't
started
lying.
being in it.
Mm-mm.
Who?
It was just like, okay,
Just name all the members and
I'll try to name as many people as I can, because there's dang sure was some people in there that did not need to be in there. Eric Bischoff, for one, you're the owner of the company. Why do you have to be with the NWO?
well, he's kind of like the president of the company.
And now
something like that.
here's all these people fighting against the NWO that would jump ship and be with them. Sting, Lex Luger, Macho Man.
Now
Y'all
Sting-
took all this time
Oh.
y'all took all this time trying to help out WCW to get rid of the NWO, and you joined the NWO. What was the point?
Well, except for Sting, you got the fake Sting.
Well, until Wolfpack came out. Okay, I'll stick with the original NWO.
Yeah, stuff with original.
Macho Man went all this time trying to beat up Hogan to
Mhm.
become the world champion, so the world title can get switched back to WCW. Because of course, when Hogan got a hold of the title, he sprayed NWO on it, so it became known as the NWO World Title. Macho Man took all this time to try to get the belt from Hogan, and he joins the NWO. Why? There was no point.
I guess what his motto was, if you can't beat them, join them.
And then they started bringing people in from Japan, people from Mexico. Like, why do y'all have to be this? Why do y'all have to be this widespread out? Then they put Scott Norton in there. Nobody cared who Scott Norton was. Why he was there, don't know.
What do you
like-
think about when they put Ted DiBiase in there?
He was just there. There was no reason. Like, if you actually go back and watch the history of the NWO, you'd be thinking to yourself, like, what the fuck? What is this person doing in here?
Or
Like,
what-
why? They could have kept it going with just Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash. They didn't need all these extra people.
Like Ted DiBiase, they had
This is
Virgil
yours, right?
in there, but I forgot the, yeah.
Vincent was his name at the time.
Oh yeah, Vincent. I wonder if that was a shot at Vince McMahon or something.
No,
Vincent.
the greatest shot that Vince McMahon ever did, I hate to say this because I know Macho Man was mad about this one. Greatest one he ever did is when he created the character Billionaire Ted. And then he had the Nacho Man and the Huckster. Old dude. And then they had that little makeshift match for WrestleMania 12. Oh my God. It was like the dark match for WrestleMania 12. And it took forever for the Huckster and Nacho Man to even get to the ring. Then they finally got to the ring because the Huckster came out on a damn walker. That would be the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Besides, of course, when Shawn Michaels did that spoof of Hogan for Larry King Live.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Okay.
Oh man. Oh,
I just
gosh.
brought it up. Ooh, hold on, here we go. It says, oops. The following is a list of members of NWO.
That did not need to be there.
There's a total of 62 members in its existence.
62?
62. That many people. Told you a bunch of people that nobody needs to have.
Okay, are we ready?
Hold on. Like, I knew there was a lot, but I didn't know it was 62.
That's what made it bad because everybody and their mama that did not need to be there was there.
Okay, are you ready? Scott Hall,
Of course.
Kevin Nash,
Yep.
Hulk Hogan,
They'll define them. Those are the founders.
Ted DiBiase,
Didn't need to be there.
The Giant,
Didn't need to be there.
Well, in a way, yes and no.
NWO Sting,
Yeah, that was the fake
that
thing.
fake thing.
Six,
Oh,
X-Pac.
X-Pac.
Vincent,
Yeah, that's
Virgil.
Virgil.
Miss Elizabeth,
She was the valet, so really, she was just there because Macho Man was there.
Eric Bischoff,
He was the owner of the company.
Buff Bagwell,
Didn't need to be in it.
Michael Wall Street,
Didn't need to be there.
Big Bubba Rogers,
Didn't need to be in it.
Scott Norton.
Didn't need to be there.
Okay, you have to forgive me how I pronounce this name. Mashiro Chono.
Masahiro Chono.
Thank
He was
you.
one of the Japan wrestlers. That's
Oh,
what I
okay.
can't stand.
I don't know why I was
Please
thinking he
tell
was
me
that.
this, not Randy Savage, but please tell me I am wrong in reading this. Dennis Rodman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
he
kicking
was.
Hogan.
Because the thing was, they had beef with, was it Diamond Dallas Page and Karl Malone?
Mhm.
Okay.
And then they had Jay Leno up under NXT.
Yeah.
The Great Muda.
Japanese.
Yeah, I'm shocked that he was. with them.
Tenzan.
I don't even know who that is, to be honest.
That was from Japan. Then, is it pronounced Conan?
Conan, yeah.
He didn't really need to be in the NWO. He was good on his own.
Kurt Hennig.
Mr.
Very
Perfect.
perfect. Yeah.
He didn't need to really be there either.
Rick Rude.
Yeah, that was
Didn't need to be there. He was a good wrestler on his own. He was already retired. He didn't even need to be in the NWO.
Okay. Louis Spicolli.
Don't know him.
Dusty Rhodes.
Definitely didn't need to be
didn't
there
need to be
because
there.
he wasn't even wrestling anymore. He was the booker.
Brian Adams.
Chronic.
Yeah.
The Disciple.
The disciple. Bruce Beefcake. He didn't even wrestle. He was with him.
Scott Steiner.
Big Papa Pump.
Nick Patrick.
Well,
I forgot he was in
the
there.
crooked referee. Every time they get a pinfall, oh, my neck with it.
Okay, hold on.
Came out with a neck break.
Alright, then it's got Hollywood Hogan,
Same person.
Eric Bischoff, again, The Disciple.
Oh, that's NWO Black and White. NWO Hollywood.
Yeah.
Okay, Bret Hart,
Yeah.
Brian Adams,
Well, I
Scott
don't know why he
Steiner, The
joined.
Giant, Scott Hall, Dusty Rhodes, Vincent. It just, mother trucker. I think
And
it
then
must
the
have
other
been
one
it.
was NWO Wolfpack.
Yeah, those were easy to name. The NWO Wolfpack.
I can't go back on your
Sting,
one.
Luger, Conan.
Okay, hold on.
Scott, Kevin Nash.
Wow. Assholes. It's trying to make me log. Yeah. Wikipedia's trying to make me log in.
That's new.
Yeah. Okay.
But then again, you got the NWO Red and Black. You got Kevin Nash.
Okay, hold on. I'm still
Oh.
going down there. Let
Yeah,
me get
Wolfpack.
it.
'Cause
Bret
they
Hart,
split-
Brian
they split into
Adams,
two
Scott
entities
Steiner,
at
The
one
Giant,
time.
Scott Hall, Dusty Rhodes, Vincent, NWO Sting, Buff Bagwell, Scott Norton, Dennis Rodman, Miss Elizabeth, Kurt Hennig, Rick Rude, Stevie Ray,
Yeah, he did join them.
Horace Hogan,
That was supposed to be Hogan's quote unquote nephew.
Barry Windham,
I didn't see why they needed to win them in there.
Then we got on to Kevin Nash, Randy Savage, Conan, Kurt Hennig, Dusty Rhodes, Elizabeth, Rick Rude, Lex Luger, Sting, Scott Hall, Disco Inferno,
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in there.
Why? That's
Hollywood,
exactly why I said why.
Hollywood Hogan, Kevin Nash. We're guessing we're on a different group of them again. Scott Hall, Eric Bischoff, Buff Bagwell, Scott Steiner, Lex Luger, Disco Inferno, Conan, David Flair,
Oh, Ric Flair's
Ric Flair's
son.
son.
Tori Wilson, Rick Steiner, Stevie Ray, The Giant, Kurt Hennig, Vincent Scott Norton, Brian Adams, Horace Hogan, Bret Hart, Jeff Jarrett. How many freaking...
And most of those guys were with the Four Horsemen at one point in time.
Mm.
These are the celebrity members. Kyle Petty, who's a NASCAR driver. Paul Gilmartin, host of Dinner and a Movie.
And you see that show didn't last very long.
Claude Mann, same show. Kendall Jenner, named in 2017 as an honorary member.
They weren't even around in 2017.
Seriously, look.
How can somebody be named an honorary member of a faction that didn't even exist last year?
But then again, you know, they doing that Q&A down at Hogan Beach House, so maybe they...
I guess.
Oh, we don't.
Why not? Next.
That was all of them.
Yeah, they okay.
I'm surprised they had the Latino World Order on there.
You know,
Should I have a look for it?
or the Blue World Order. How about them from
The
from
ECW.
Latino. Oh, look, top thing. Latino NWO.
Yeah, that was Conan, Psychosis. No, Rey Mysterio didn't join them.
Nope.
Okay. I haven't got much.
Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero is actually the one that started the whole
Okay,
damn thing.
members.
Right.
Here we go.
It's in his book, I read.
That was impressive. I'm quite proud of that one. Okay. Eddie Guerrero.
See, he was the founding member.
Rey Mysterio Jr.
He was
Oh,
he didn't join them.
Oh, he probably, I think he was forced to join or something like that.
Okay.
Okay, pronounce his name.
Okay, we got we got Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio Jr., Juventud Guerrera,
That's what
Oh, yeah.
Psychosis, La Parca, El Dandy, Silver King, Venado V, Hector Garza, Cyclops,
sounds like
Damien.
sounds like the cast of X-Men coming.
and then the bodyguard was Spider.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know who that
that's
was.
about everybody.
Crazy.
Yeah, no kidding.
The Blue World Order was no better.
Well, at least with them, it was just three of them.
It was funny. Yeah, it
Blue
was
World
funny.
Order.
Yeah, that was the ECW. That was a rag against the NWO. It was funny as that. Steve Richards, Blue Meanie, and I forgot what the guy name that was portraying Macho Man.
I thought he was portraying, oh yeah, he was portraying Macho Man.
Stevie Richards was doing the whole Hogan thing. They had the Blue Meanie.
I thought he was doing the Nash thing.
Okay. Let's go to members. There you go.
Oh, Blue World Order. Here we go. Big Stevie Cool. Parody of Big Daddy Cool, Kevin Nash. Hollywood Nova. Parody of Hollywood Hogan. The Blue Guy. Parody of the Bad Guy. Thomas the Inchworm Rodman. For a parody of the Worm Dennis Rodman. 6'11", also known as 3.5", parody of 6. Oh, here we go. B World Order Japan.
Japan?
Yeah, BWO Japan. Taka Michinoku, Terry Boy, and Dick Tongo, parody of NWO Japan. Stink, parody of Sting.
Oh my god.
That's hilarious. That's funny as shit right there. 7-Eleven, also known as 3.5.
Oh Lord, he's lost it.
Things you just find information today.
He's just lost his damn mind.
That's hilarious stuff right there. I'm sorry.
Sorry, but back to what we was.
I think I'm lost as to what we were even talking
I
about.
know we was talking about wrestling in the 90s. I know that.
Oh yeah.
Because
We got so sidetracked. I don't even know where we are right now.
it was funny.
Okay, if we're doing about funny,
Step
funniest
11, 3.5.
funniest matchups then.
WLC, where Hornswoggle El Torito. Although that wasn't in the 90s, but it was this decade.
I'm trying to think of something that was relatively fun. Oh, Survivor Series. The King's Court versus Doink.
Oh, yeah.
It was Jerry King Lawler and Doink. They were the captains, but yet their team members consisted of midget parodies of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
Because in
god.
Jerry Lawler's court, it was like three midgets dressed just like him, sleazy, cheesy, and wheezy, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And then Doink, of course, he had three midget clowns: Doink, Dink, Stink, and Wink. Doink, Dink, Wink, Pink.
Yeah.
You
The
know I
only
wouldn't watch
difference
that,
between-
don't you? You know I would have run from the room screaming the minute clowns came on.
The only difference between all of them is that they all had different colored wigs. That was the only
Oh
difference.
my god.
That had to be the dumbest match and funniest match ever existed. I think it was like Survivor Series '94, if I remember right.
I think could be 94.
If I remember right, I think it was '94.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's shoot. What about a feud that made no sense?
God.
Jerry Lawler and Doink. There you go. There really was no point to that.
God, I knew there was some, but I just gotta.
Anything involving a clown in wrestling makes no sense whatsoever.
Unless you're at a local show called ICW. With what's his face?
Oh, Yabo the Clown.
Oh, that scared the freaking life out of me. Right. ICW, when we went there, they had this Yabo the Clown.
I've seen them before.
He was evil.
I've seen them wrestle
I
before.
hid behind him every time the theme music came up. I'm like, oh hell no. I'm like, tell me what he's done. Tell me what he's done. Tell me what he's done.
He was actually playing with our son for a little while at this one show that Legacy once he was there.
He's horrible. No,
She's just not a fan of clowns,
No.
people.
Mm-mm. Well, look, when we was at, I'm trying to think, whose show was we at? We was at somebody's show with one of the clown wrestlers. I think it was Doink the Clown was there. And
Hey
his,
everybody, here's the other member.
his makeup artist hadn't shown up to do his makeup. And he came out and asked if anybody could do clown makeup. And Chad went to me, he said, can you go do his makeup? I'm like, mm-mm. He went, why not? And I'm like, he's a clown. He went, okay, so you're going to do clown makeup? I'm like, mm-mm.
Somebody's looking at you.
Hi, Mama. Hi, Mama. I'm like, I'm
Wanna get
not doing clown makeup.
Yeah.
I ended up with
Oh, do you
having,
want to sit up there?
being surrounded by like 3 wrestlers going, just go do his makeup. I'm like, my voice, I'm like, he's a fucking clown, no. And they're like, are you scared of clowns? I'm like,
Yes.
yes. They're like, oh dear
Why does
God.
everybody want to be over by me? He got 2 legs. I got the biggest one on my lap.
Okay, you cannot say Stone Cold and Vince McMahon. What was the other best feuds from the 90s?
Let's see.
Michaels and Bret Hart. That's one.
Well, for the little few that they did have.
The rivalry that started well, in a way, it didn't start at WrestleMania. It kind of just started with.
Kamala Undertaker was a good one. That lasted for a while, culminating in a very good match. Warrior Hogan. Actually, Warrior and Randy Savage was a really good one.
Oh yeah.
Warrior and Hogan was a good one, leading up to WrestleMania 6. Undertaker and Yokozuna was a good one. But that culminated a year later at Survivor Series in '94. Second casket match, Chuck Norris was the special enforcer of that match.
Yeah, I remember
Let's see, what was another?
that. Another one was for me was like Ahmed Johnson versus Farouk.
Oh yeah, that they could have ended that one a whole lot better though.
Right.
Too much build up and it didn't satisfy.
Because I think the first match they had with each other after he came back from injury ended up being a no contest or disqualification or something like that.
That's why you know the match was no good. You can't even remember what the heck even happened because it really never ended. It ended, but it didn't end.
It kind of
like
fizzled. It fizzled as opposed to.
Yeah, like I said, like with a lot of Warriors matches.
Oh
like,
yeah, but then again, he did have the Nation by the time that Ahmed had came back.
and
from
then
injury.
Ahmed joined the Nation, so it wasn't really no point. Because it was kind of like a lot of stuff with Warrior, like the build up would be nice, and then all of a sudden the match would happen. It's like, and why all that hype to get
Trying
a
to
disappointing
think who
match?
else. Oh yeah, Austin and Bret Hart was another good one.
That was a good one. That one was really good.
Let's see who else.
Rock and Triple H had a pretty good run.
Yeah, they had a decent one.
I'm not gonna say it's like one of the greatest ones, but they had a pretty good run though. This one DX still around.
Okay, what do you think of DX coming back?
Oh, at this time? I know everybody was begging about, like, they wanted Michaels to do one more match, but I think they didn't expect this, but the crowd seemed to be happy, but I know the people probably watching it was like, what the hell?
Exactly.
But I think for a lot of people, like, just say for example, if we had been there when they announced they were back, yeah, you're gonna cheer and be happy, you know, but for more nostalgia purposes as opposed to can't wait to see again, because let's be honest, both of them are so close to the age of needing to have hip replacements, knee replacements, and
Shawn Michaels have already had.
Yeah, it's good seeing them come back for like when they do like promos and everything,
Right.
and having them and like let's be honest, their mic game is off the hook. They've got that mic game down. Yeah, but I think
So they pulled the cock. So the cock is
yeah.
out.
Hey, Andre, that's watching on YouTube.
So
All he wanted to do is get the cock some exposure. You know, it's really frustrating. First he was in, then he was out, in, out, in, out, in, out. And honestly, it's a shame too. Loved him. He would have stroked him and rubbed him and hugged him. Hell, Vince probably would have kissed that cock on his big red bloated head. But you know what, Sean? It's probably for the best. You know how angry Vince gets, how mad he gets. Cocky might have done something wrong. You know, Vince, he won't hesitate for a second to choke a chicken. Yeah, it's probably good. Because he would have done something bad, Vince wouldn't hesitate to beat that cock like he owed him money. I guess we'll never know the love that Vince and Cocky could have shared. Oh, when they met Crime Time, that was great.
But my whole thing is
Let
that
me handle this. I speak jive. Yo! Hey, here's my partner. We try to get back into Hizzy for the shit. You know what I'm saying? No, what we did a deuce down low. Who got a deuce down low?
But my whole thing is I think for us, like seeing them come back is the nostalgia thing, and I don't know if you remember this, AJ or not. You show my baby. Baby, she's like, put me down. I'm not camera ready. You had a bath today, so you're pretty. But anywho, I don't know if you remember, AJ. Robert was about like 9.5, 10, and was at school, and we actually got.
He was.
Shut up, because you're gonna like this. We got a phone call from the school, if you remember, where after a wrestling show we had been to at BW's, he went to school on Monday, and they had like a lot of schools where it's like, tell us about your weekend, and my son gets up there and he goes, well, we were at this wrestling show at BW Freeze, and my mum bought me wings and everything, and these two guys went, suck it, and did the chop. I don't know if you remember, we got the phone call. And
I remember the phone call.
the school
And I was
they were
probably
like,
laughing on the phone too.
well, no, I had to remain pretty
I was
like,
laughing when she told me.
and they went,
I knew one of y'all had me laughing. About
it was
this.
funny because Robert's teacher was this really cool guy, and his teacher went, he said, now I know you're wrestling fans. He said, and I enjoyed the pay-per-view as well. He said it was a really good pay-per-view. He said, we were at Roll Mines watching it though. I'm like, okay. Having Robert yell, suck it, and doing the chop to his crutch at the top of his voice, you know, just seemed wrong for a Monday morning. And I'm like, I had to speak with Robert when he got home. I was like, Robert, you can't do that. Meanwhile, poor AJ sat in the background while I'm telling Robert he can't do this in school. He's going, why? And I'm like, AJ, would you like to explain why? AJ's like, no, this is you. This is all on you. He wouldn't help me one little bit. But then, this is actually the funniest part. There's you guys know him, DJ Bob.
Yeah.
He made Robert this t-shirt because we were doing a live show pretty similar to this, and Robert was sneaking behind me going into the fridge, and everybody kept saying, oh look, there's a mouse, and when I turned around thinking it was a real mouse, I'm not seeing anyone, I'm just seeing Robert, and then Robert's like creeping behind me again going, but you didn't have a screen like this where you could see, so I didn't realise until later on that Robert was behind me, like, ding, 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 getting stuff from the fridge and coming back past, like, with a popsicle going, like this, and pulling faces and everything. So DJ Bob made Robert this t-shirt with a mouse on a skateboard. And it said, on the top of it, it had Robert Crawford, the mouse. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So Robert got into the habit of layering t-shirts. So underneath that t-shirt, he had his John Cena t-shirt with John Cena holding two Rottweilers. You remember this one as well? We got a phone call from the school saying Robert's t-shirt, not the one with John Cena with the Rottweilers, but the one with the DJ Bob, and it said on the back it had like DJ Bob, wrestling's best DJ, or something on the back. They were like, we have to let you know that Robert cannot wear that t-shirt. We do not like people to wear anything that promotes wrestling or any kind of violence. Well, I didn't know he had this John Cena shirt on underneath. And I said, well, he's wearing another t-shirt underneath. And she's like, okay, we'll let him take that off. So, get through the whole day. He comes home from school. And I see this John Cena t-shirt holding these Rottweilers. I went, did your teacher say anything about that shirt? And he went, no, she just said that John Cena's her favourite actor. And when I said that he's a wrestler, she told me I was lying. And we were just like...
Probably confusing with Mark Wahlberg.
Okay. Wow. You know when you just sit there... Yeah, that was kind of it. We were just like... I got nothing. But he remembered Robert also had a DX shirt. And he wore that to school and nobody said anything. He wore his John Cena shirt to school, nobody said anything. He wears a WrestleMania t-shirt to school. I got told he had to turn it inside out. He wore an Undertaker shirt to he wore his blue Undertaker shirt to school. If you remember, he had the blue one.
Yeah.
And nothing was said about it. But then he had one that was the Undertaker on one side, like on this half of it, and didn't it have Paul Bearer on the other, holding the urn?
Probably.
And he got told he had to wear it inside out. And if you remember, there was that one day where DJ Bob had actually made t-shirts for all of us, and we showed up to Robert's school with him for a parent-teachers conference, all of us wearing our DJ Bob shirts.
I bet that pissed off everybody.
She looked like she was sucking on a lemon. She's like... However, Robert yelling suck it and doing a crutch, that will go down in history as the best.
That made you a problem.
Do you know what? I shed a tear. I did shed a tear. Whether it was with pride or laughter, we will never know. This one was gone. He was rolling on the couch. He came in and I just went, Trev, we got a problem. He went, what's that? I went, robbery. He went, what did he do? DX for show and tell. He did even better the next week. Do you remember? The next week he went to school with a picture of me where I was at the swimming pool and I was going like that and showing my tattoo on my boob. And he took that to school and he went, this is my mum. She has tattoos on her boobs.
Well, you had to be proud that you were proud that day.
No.
Yeah, that school was real.
Oh, they were really
religious.
strict, weren't they?
Yeah.
What, South Division or before?
No,
that?
this was at Rawson Elementary School in South Milwaukee.
Oh, I thought that was at the.
No, that
church.
wasn't. No, that wasn't St. Greg's.
Oh, okay.
No.
I never went to a Catholic school, so I couldn't tell you.
Poor Robert went to a Catholic school right from when he was little all the way through to it was like third grade.
I think it was third grade. Yeah.
Third grade.
The red
And
strings,
It was actually funny because when we were in near Brown Deer, he went to, oh God, I can't even remember, Our Lady of Good Hope, because we were on Good Hope Road. And the actual priest who did the like little assemblies and everything for the kids would actually talk to them about wrestling in a way to get religion across. And I remember we were there for one Christmas thing, and I swear to God, he sat up there and he went, Vince McMahon is like God. He said, Vince McMahon told his people they were going to have this amazing child who was going to grow up and run the world. He goes, do you know who that child was? Do you know? Does anybody know? And these kids are like, no. The Rock. So, and right there, Robert said, is he talking about wrestling? And I'm like, mm-hmm. And then he sat there and he kept going on. He's like, then you have the three wise men. And I'm thinking, who the hell is he going to have those three wise men? DX. He said, and he goes, but their gifts were different to what the three wise men, but it was hilarious. And then for the longest time, when Robert would talk about like the nativity and the birth of Jesus, it was the birth of the Rock. And DX came to bring gifts to the Rock at Christmas. So one year, I'd actually bought him wrestling figures, and his dad, I mean, it was a really beautiful nativity scene with Jesus and everything. His dad had done something to piss me off, I can't even remember. But I went and got Robert's wrestling figures and put the Rock in the manger and... Okay.
Yeah, close that.
Yeah, we put the Rock in the manger, and he had a Triple H figure, but that was the only like one of DX that we had. So we put Triple H as one of the wise men. His dad never noticed. Christmas went by. You didn't notice that you've got this giant Rock figure in a manger, like. Anywho, that's my funny stories of my son and wrestling.
Oh God, that's funny.
That's a bit funny actually. Now that I know the story behind it, that's pretty funny.
It was great.
Oh God, I think we got stories that can just keep going on and on and on.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like I told you about my stepdad used to do.
Yeah, you have to tell him, because this is great.
Okay, going back to my childhood, around about 1991, 90, somewhere in that age, my stepdad was still alive. Him and my mom used to get pay-per-views. This is before I had cable in the house that I grew up in. Of course, my grandparents raised me, but yeah, I told Hazel this story earlier.
That was awful.
25th and National, apartment building. My stepdad and my mom, they lived in the very first apartment, the very number one. So when you walk into the door, the apartment was like right here. You could pretty much sit in the hall. You could pretty much from the hallway be able to look right into the apartment, right at the television. Yeah, my stepdad used to get pay-per-views, and guys that he was cool with in the neighborhood would show up literally sitting in the hallway on milk crates just to see the pay-per-view. Those were the days. You can't buy stuff like that.
Oh God.
You can't buy memories like that.
We used to fill up our apartment, didn't we, with everybody for
Yeah,
pay-per-views
do
and
that,
Monday
and
Night
also
Raw.
Buffalo Wild Wings, the
Yeah.
one downtown, then the one
Oh.
in West Dallas.
There's a BW3 in downtown Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're
Water
right. There is
Street.
one. I had to think about it for, but I was like, oh yeah, that's right. There is one.
But it was so much fun at the one in West Dallas, where we'd all show up there, and it was everybody would arrive early so you could get tables and everything. And you'd see, like, me and AJ were normally the ones who were there before everyone, and you'd have messages come through like, send me a table, send me a table. So I'd be like sat at one table holding on to tables. Then you get Robert at the next two tables, and then AJ further down until it's like people slowly came in, and we'd like all get back up together. And then we'd all sit there, and it would be, say, like about 5 o'clock. And everyone, you'd have one person, normally Zay, who would kept going to the door of BW's and looking over at Krispy Kreme. And he'd be like, the light's on, they've got fresh donuts. Everybody would go over there to get their free donut. There'd be like this, like, march of people going to
Yeah, it'd be like a
over
group of
there.
us, yeah.
And then they'd come back.
Gotta get out Krispy Kreme donuts. They sure is good. Y'all marching down the
Yeah.
street like y'all protesting. We gotta get our Krispy Kreme
That's pretty much
donuts.
how it
They
was.
sure is good.
And
Somehow
then-
y'all got picket signs. And...
Well, and then like two or three doors down was Chuck E. Cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take Robert to Chuck E. Cheese
That
at
could lie me
times.
completely because I don't know what BW3 you
West
are
Dallas on
referring to.
Highway 100. So
Ain't no change over there.
yes, there is.
Yeah, it is.
It's off of Highway 100 in Oklahoma.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what you're referring
Anyway,
to.
so I would sometimes take Robert into Chuck E. Cheese just because he would get bored. And then all of a sudden, but when I said, Robert, you want to go to Chuck E. Cheese? All of a sudden, Robert would have these uncles. There would be like about 5 or 6 for our lot, wouldn't they? Like, I'm
Mhm.
coming with you. I'm uncle. I'm uncle today. And we'd go in there and we'd come back out with our little goodies that we got from there. And Robert would be like, Mum took my coupons that I won. It's like, I wanted the pencil case, Robert. But we used to have such a good time up there. And it was actually fun until there were certain people who started it not fun, who weren't even DJ.
Oh.
But it would be really fun because then you had like the people who was kind of the heel fans, and then you had the face fans, and there was just like this constant battle between everybody, and the t-shirts that everybody started making. Oh my God. People started making t-shirts of each other and say, this is what a hater looks like. And you'd have pictures of somebody who was there on the shirts. And
Yeah,
Wow,
I wore some good ones.
yeah,
That's like die-hard fans. That's the
it
kind of
was
fans
great.
That's the kind of fans that you want at every show.
It was great fun. But at the end of the evening, it was always, oh, can't wait till next time. You wait till you see the t-shirt I got for next time. And it would just be this ongoing battle. But there was one person who did take it too far. Well, 2 people, actually. The Weasel and DJ.
Mhm.
They always took it too far. And actually, if you remember, it was DJ who, when we were at Rome Mines for WrestleMania, when we just found out I was pregnant with Matthew, who started a fight with you, and I stood in between them.
Isn't that one time you said that AJ jumped the table?
Pretty much jumped the table. Yeah. I stood in between them, and DJ's like pushing me like in the stomach. But nobody knew I was pregnant then except for AJ. And oh, it went down, didn't it? It was bad. That was during Cena's match.
Mm-hmm. Cena and The Rock.
Yep.
Dude, I was there. I don't remember that fight.
We were in the pit.
I was there. I was like right above. I was like right above you guys. Right like where that main section is at. I was right above there, sitting there with my friend.
Yeah, there was a fight. You don't remember that?
Why don't I remember the fight? I was sitting right there. Like pretty much like say the screen is like right here in front of you. This
Uh-huh.
is where I was sitting, like offset, like off to the side.
Yeah, there was a fight.
Like right after Rock beat John Cena, me and my boys Donnie got up and got a shot.
Remember, that's the guy who came over started trying to pull me, and I wasn't doing anything. I was just standing in front of
I
AJ.
remember the fight. That was right there.
And this guy started putting his hands on me saying, you got to get the fuck off of him. I said, this is my husband. I'm not, I'm stopping him from doing anything. And he was like, get your hands off of him. I said, it's my husband. I'm stopping him from doing anything because, he's not going to hit anyone with me, like, right in front of him. And then at the end of the evening, the same guy who apparently turns out to be someone who's hired by Royal Mines to be there to help with security, I asked for a box to package up our food. And he came over and he said, you need to leave now. And I said, I'm packaging up my food. He said, I don't care, get the fuck out. And he's trying to pull me out my chair. Nobody else, it was me who was pulling out my chair.
Yeah, they was on the verge of trying to kick me out. Like, y'all don't stop this. Y'all gonna get kicked out.
And we were trying to point out, look, this guy came to where we were. He wasn't sat with us. He was way over the other side. But my battery's about to die.
I don't know why.
Yeah, same here.
All right, so this has been an interesting evening. We have to do it again sometime.
Oh yeah. Talk about more wrestling.
Sounds good. Catch you all later.
Yep, and bye for now, and bye for here on YouTube. We will do this again.
What the hell did that have?